Tonight, close your eyes and travel far back to a time before cities, before kings, before written words. You are standing on the soft, mossy ground of the Stone Age. The air smells of damp earth and pine sap. The wind hums gently through tall grasses, bending them in waves that ripple like a quiet ocean. Overhead, the sky is heavy with stars that seem much closer than today, shining like small lanterns watching over the world. In the clearing ahead, nestled at the edge of a dense forest, there is a camp. It's not large, just a circle of simple shelters made of bent branches and thick animal hides. In the center, a fire crackles softly. Orange light dances over faces, over fur-lined cloaks, over smooth stones arranged in careful circles. Shadows flicker gently against the hides of the shelters. And there, gathered around the fire, sits a small family. The parents are young, but strong, their skin weathered by wind and sun. The mother holds a small child, perhaps only a few months old, swaddled in soft animal fur. She hums quietly, a melody with no words, just a tune passed down through countless generations. The father sits beside her, sharpening a spear with slow, careful strokes, his eyes always shifting between his work and the darkness beyond the fire's glow. Raising children in the Stone Age was a task of constant attention. There were no cribs, no strollers, no safe rooms. The world itself was both nursery and danger. The parents kept their infants close at all times, tied snugly against their bodies with strips of softened hide. The rhythm of walking, hunting, and gathering became the child's first lullaby. As the mother worked during the day, digging for roots or gathering berries, the baby swayed gently against her chest or back, feeling the beat of her heart, the rise and fall of her breath. The father, too, played his part. At night, while predators prowled unseen beyond the firelight, his watchful eyes scanned the shadows. His spear rested across his knees, always ready. Every distant crack of a branch, every whisper of wind in the trees made his muscles tighten. Protecting a family in the wild was not just a duty. It was an endless presence. He was a living wall between his child and the hungry unknown. Older children were never far from their parents either. They learned by watching. A 6-year-old girl sat nearby, carefully mimicking her mother's movements with a tiny dull stone knife, slicing soft plant fibers to make simple cords. Her younger brother crouched beside his father, trying to copy the steady sharpening motion, though his clumsy hands slipped often. There was no formal teaching. Knowledge flowed like the smoke rising from the fire, gentle, constant, always present. The camp was quiet, but not silent. Night birds called from the trees. Crickets whispered in the grass. Somewhere far off, wolves howled, distant enough to not bring immediate alarm, but close enough to remind everyone that safety was always temporary. The baby in the mother's arms stirred and whimpered softly. The mother rocked her gently, pressing her lips to the child's soft, warm head. The hum continued, softer now, almost blending with the crackling fire. It was a song made of instinct, of comfort, of survival. The child's eyes fluttered closed again, safe in the warm circle of arms, fur, and firelight. Nearby, hanging from a wooden frame, small charms dangled, bone beads, polished shells, tiny carved figures. Some were believed to bring protection, others to soothe restless infants. The soft clinking of the charms in the breeze was another layer of comfort, another ancient ritual passed from mother to daughter, from father to son. These parents, like countless before them, knew that survival depended not just on feeding and sheltering their child, but on constant closeness. A child left alone, even for a few moments, could vanish into the waiting forest or fall prey to the creatures that ruled the night. So the baby slept where the mother slept, woke where the mother woke, cried where the mother worked. The child's earliest understanding of the world was warmth, heartbeat, breath, and skin. And yet, despite the constant dangers, there was peace here. The night wrapped the family like a dark blanket, and the flickering fires stitched a small circle of safety into the vastness. The stars blinked overhead, unchanged for thousands of years, watching countless children rock gently in the arms of their mothers. As you drift deeper into sleep, imagine the soft weight of a fur-wrapped baby against your chest, the low hum of the wind, and the warmth of ancient firelight. In this world, parenting was not a role. It was life itself, every moment, every breath. The morning sun rises slowly over the distant hills, casting long golden beams across the misty valley. The world is waking. Dew glistens on blades of grass. Small birds flutter between the trees, singing soft, curious songs. In the camp, the embers of last night's fire still glow faintly beneath a thin layer of ash. Smoke curls lazily into the cool air. The mother stirs first. Her baby, still bundled tightly in fur, sleeps against her chest. She carefully loosens the straps and shifts the child into a soft sling across her back. The baby barely notices the movement, comforted by the familiar sway and the mother's scent. These wraps were simple but essential. Thin strips of tanned hide or woven plant fibers, tied skillfully to distribute weight. The infant would spend nearly every waking hour in this sling, rocked gently by every step the mother took. Other women in the camp begin to rise as well. Some are already preparing for the day's foraging. Baskets woven from reeds sit ready, their open mouths eager to be filled with roots, nuts, berries, and leafy greens. A small group of older children gathers beside one of the women, eager to help and to learn. They chatter softly, pointing to the baskets, giggling at each other's excitement. Teaching in this world was never formal. There were no schools, no instructors standing apart from life. Children learned by being included. They followed their parents, watching every movement, mimicking every task. When their small hands fumbled, adults gently guided them, adjusting fingers, showing how to twist a fiber into cord, how to spot edible roots among tangled greenery. The mother joins the foraging group, her baby swaying quietly behind her. She moves slowly, scanning the ground with practiced eyes. She spots a patch of tubers, their broad leaves poking through the earth. With a smooth motion, she drops to her knees and begins digging with a simple stone tool. The baby shifts, but remains calm, feeling the rhythmic movement, hearing the soft hum the mother sings under her breath. Nearby, a grandmother crouches with several children. Her hair is streaked with gray, her face lined with years of sun and wind. She shows the children how to tell poisonous berries from safe ones, pointing out subtle differences in leaf shape and stem color. The children listen intently. In this world, mistakes carried great weight. Knowledge was survival. Farther out, the fathers and older boys move into the forest. Today is a hunting day. They walk carefully, spears ready, following faint tracks in the damp soil. Their voices are low murmurs, barely above whispers. They are not only providers, but protectors. Every successful hunt means safety for the group. But every failure reminds them how thin the line between abundance and hunger can be. Back at camp, infants remain close to the mothers. The constant proximity is not only for comfort, but for safety. A crawling baby could easily slip away unnoticed, and danger always lurked. Large cats, silent snakes, even sudden storms could turn a moment's carelessness into tragedy. That is why mothers rarely put their infants down. Their warmth, their heartbeat, their skin were the child's world. As the morning stretches into midday, the foragers return, baskets heavy with food. Small hands help sort the harvest. Older children carry lighter loads proudly, showing off their contributions. The mothers exchange soft words of praise, encouraging their efforts. Slowly, the camp fills with quiet energy. Food is prepared, skins are cleaned, new hides are stretched to dry. Near the edge of camp, a group of small children plays beneath the watchful eyes of the elders. They chase each other in wide circles, their laughter light and free. Play was not just joy, it was practice. Every game, every mock hunt, every pretend foraging trip was building the skills they would need. The girls tie grass cords together, copying their mother's weaving. The boys throw small sticks at imaginary prey, learning aim and balance. One little boy stumbles, falling to the ground with a soft thud. For a moment, there is silence. His face twists, ready to cry. But then, the grandmother's voice floats over, calm and steady. She speaks softly, reminding him of the proper way to hold his stick. The boy sniffs, wipes his nose with the back of his hand, and tries again. The adults do not rush to rescue every fall. Learning resilience was part of growing. As shadows lengthen and the sun begins its slow descent, the hunters return. A large deer hangs from a pole carried between two men, its weight swinging gently with their steps. The camp comes alive with quiet pride. Tonight, there will be meat for everyone, and tomorrow, there will be hides for clothing, tools, and shelter repairs. The baby, still nestled against his mother's back, stirs as the camp's quiet buzz grows. He opens his eyes, blinking at the soft golden light of the evening. The mother strokes his cheek with gentle fingers, whispering a few soft words known only to them. The child coos in response, safe once again in the rhythms of life. Here, in this world of quiet patterns and endless care, parenting was not a separate role. It was the fabric of existence. Each parent carried their child through every task, every journey, every moment of life. Survival was not an individual act. It was shared breath, shared steps, shared warmth. As you settle deeper into your own rest, feel the slow rhythm of ancient days, where each sunrise brought new challenges, and every heartbeat carried the oldest wisdom of love, protection, and patience. The camp grows quieter as evening deepens. The sun sinks below the hills, and long shadows stretch across the land. The air cools, carrying the earthy scent of damp leaves and distant rain. Above, the sky transforms into a vast dome of deep indigo, scattered with shimmering stars. The great crescent moon rises slowly, casting a pale silver glow over the sleeping world. Near the fire, the family gathers once more. The baby, now fully awake, watches the flickering flames with wide, curious eyes. His tiny hands reach toward the light, fingers flexing and grasping at the moving shadows. The mother gently draws his hands back, whispering soft sounds to soothe him. Her voice is steady, calm, almost like singing, but without melody, a slow, rhythmic murmur that flows like water. The fire, always central to their lives, offers more than warmth. It is protection. The glow keeps predators at bay, wards off the creeping darkness, and gathers the family close into a small circle of light. Each night, it becomes the heart of their world, a living, breathing guardian made of flame and ash. Tonight, the eldest of the group, a man with a thick beard streaked with gray and deep lines etched into his face, takes a place near the center. The children settle quietly at his feet. Even the youngest infants seem to feel the shift in mood, growing still in their mother's arms. The old man begins to speak, his voice low and steady. He tells a story, one passed down from countless generations. It speaks of the great bear spirit who watches over children, guiding them safely through their first dangerous years. The bear teaches mothers how to hold their babies close, how to wrap them tight, how to whisper calming words into their ears. The bear's great paw keeps the wolves away, and its breath warms the sleeping children at night. The children listen wide-eyed. The baby coos softly, perhaps sensing the calmness that wraps around the group. These stories were more than entertainment. They were lessons wrapped in myth. In a world without books, without written words, knowledge traveled through stories, songs, and symbols. Every tale carried instructions, warnings, and comfort. The father sits close, his spear laid across his lap. His eyes scan the tree line beyond the glow of the fire. He listens to the old man's words, but his body remains alert, tuned to every rustle in the bushes, every distant howl. For parents in the Stone Age, rest was always light, easily broken by the sharp edge of instinct. The night is alive. Small creatures scurry through the underbrush. A distant owl hoots, its call echoing softly through the trees. Occasionally, the sharp yip of a fox cuts through the night air. Beyond hearing, farther away, larger predators roam. Lions, wolves, perhaps even the silent steps of a saber-toothed cat. But none dare cross the ring of firelight tonight. The baby shifts again, small sounds bubbling from his lips. The mother adjusts the fur wrap, keeping him snug and warm. Her free hand rubs his tiny back in slow circles. The rhythm is ancient, older than memory, a universal language of comfort, shared by all mothers before her, and all who will come after. Beside her, another mother begins to hum. The sound is low, soft, a simple tune made of a few repeating notes. One by one, other women join in, creating a gentle harmony that floats like mist through the cool air. This is their lullaby, a song not meant to impress or entertain, but to soothe, to calm, to remind the babies that they are safe, that they are loved. The humming continues as the old man's story fades into silence. The fire pops softly, sending tiny sparks swirling upward. The stars blink overhead, silent witnesses to this nightly ritual played out for tens of thousands of years. The children yawn, heads resting against mother's shoulders or on older siblings' laps. Raising children in this world was not a task with clear lines or isolated duties. Everyone shared the burden. Older siblings helped carry infants. Grandmothers taught foraging skills. Fathers stood guard. Elders told stories that bound the group together. The entire tribe raised every child, wrapping them in layers of care and wisdom. As the lullaby fades, the mother gently shifts, preparing for sleep. She lies down on a bed of soft furs, her baby still nestled against her chest. The father lies nearby, his spear close at hand. Around them, the other families settle in, forming a loose circle around the dying fire. The baby's breathing slows, rising and falling in perfect rhythm with his mother's chest. His small hand curls instinctively around a lock of her hair. The night deepens. The stars turn slowly across the sky. The wind hums softly through the trees, carrying the faint scent of pine and distant rain. In the darkness, the steady crackle of embers offers one final whisper of comfort before sleep takes them all. In this world, every night was a quiet act of survival wrapped in tenderness. Parenting was not separate from danger. It was the answer to it. Every touch, every hum, every whispered word was a shield, a prayer, a hope that this child would live to see the next sunrise. As you drift deeper into sleep, feel the ancient peace of firelight, of soft furs, of steady breathing in the night. In this world of endless care, children grew not just with food and shelter, but with 1,000 small acts of love, wrapped in the wisdom of the ages. The next morning begins before the first light touches the horizon. The sky is still a deep velvet blue, holding tightly to the last stars of the night. A faint breeze stirs the grass, carrying with it the cool breath of dawn. In the camp, quiet movements begin. The fire is carefully stirred back to life, coaxing glowing embers into bright orange flames. Smoke rises in thin, swirling ribbons. The mothers move with practiced care. The babies are gently lifted from their beds of fur, wrapped securely against their mothers' bodies. Their small faces peek out, eyes heavy with sleep, but already curious. These early hours belong to preparation. The tribe must move today. They rarely stay long in one place. The land provides, but only for a while. Once the game grows scarce or the nearby plants are gathered clean, it is time to seek new ground. The older children help gather supplies. They roll hides into bundles, tie tools together with cords, and carefully pack food into woven baskets. The youngest among them carry lighter loads, small pouches of dried berries, sharpened flintstones, or handfuls of bone needles. Their movements are clumsy but eager, full of pride in being part of the group's work. The fathers check weapons, inspect the paths ahead, and scan the treetops for signs of weather. Clouds gather in the distance, heavy and dark, promising rain by nightfall. The decision to move is confirmed. The world of the Stone Age was always in motion. Safety meant flexibility. Staying too long in one place invited danger, from predators, from rival groups, or from the land itself growing tired of their presence. As the sun finally breaks over the horizon, casting golden light across the valley, the tribe begins its slow, steady march. The children walk close to their parents, watching every step, learning the patterns of safe travel. The toddlers stumble now and then, but are quickly steadied by gentle hands. Babies sway in their slings, lulled by the rhythm of movement. The path leads them through tall grasses, along narrow trails worn by countless feet, both human and animal. Deer tracks crisscross the soft earth, mingling with the wide, deep prints of ancient bison and the narrow, sharp marks left by wolves. The parents' eyes constantly scan these signs, reading the story of the land. This knowledge will one day belong to their children too, passed not through lessons, but through shared experience. As midday approaches, they reach a new clearing near a slow-moving river. The spot is good. Fresh water, plenty of fish, nearby trees for shelter, and signs of game in the surrounding hills. The tribe spreads out, quickly setting to work. Shelters are raised once more, simple frames of bent branches covered with hides, anchored by heavy stones. Fires are built, and the rhythmic routine of survival resumes. For the children, every new camp is both familiar and new. They explore within the safe perimeter, collecting interesting stones, watching insects crawl across leaves, and mimicking their parents' tasks. Play is their first form of education. A group of small boys gather sticks, pretending to hunt imaginary beasts, copying the postures of their fathers with exaggerated seriousness. Girls sit together weaving grasses, their small fingers already learning the patterns that will one day form baskets and cords strong enough to carry their own children. The mothers remain ever watchful. A child's curiosity can quickly lead them too far from safety. A sudden shriek from the bushes turns every head, only a startled bird taking flight. But the moment serves as a quiet reminder. Danger is never far. Even here, in this peaceful clearing, large cats might prowl the forest edges. Snakes might slither beneath the grass. An unexpected flood could rise from the river after heavy rains. To protect their children, the parents rely not only on constant supervision, but on ancient rituals. At the edge of the new camp, a small ring of stones is laid. Inside it, the elders place carved charms, small figures of animals, polished bones, and painted shells. These totems serve as silent guardians, believed to watch over the children and ward off unseen dangers. As the afternoon stretches on, the camp settles into a quiet rhythm. The mothers sit in small circles, nursing their infants, their soft voices blending into a low hum. The fathers sharpen tools and prepare traps for hunting. Older children carry water from the river, taking turns balancing heavy skins on their small shoulders. Near one shelter, a young girl cradles her baby brother while their mother rests briefly. She rocks him gently, copying the exact motions she has seen since his birth. Her voice, though young, mimics the soft, steady hum of her mother's lullabies. These moments are lessons. One day, she too will carry her own child, and these simple acts will be second nature. As the sun begins its slow descent once more, casting long shadows across the clearing, the first cool breeze of evening arrives. The fires are rekindled, their smoke curling upward into the darkening sky. The tribe gathers close again, drawing in toward the warmth and safety of the circle. The baby, still cradled close to his mother's chest, sighs deeply, his tiny hands grasping at the soft fur around him. His eyes flutter closed as the night song of insects rises around them. In the distance, the haunting call of an owl echoes through the trees, a reminder of the vast, wild world beyond the firelight. In this world, parenting was an unbroken thread woven into every moment of life. There were no separate hours for work and care, no distinction between protection and love. Every step taken, every task completed, every song hummed was for the children. Small acts of devotion performed beneath the endless sky, watched over by ancient stars. As you drift deeper into sleep, feel the steady rhythm of ancient footsteps, the quiet hum of lullabies beneath the trees, and the eternal heartbeat of parents guiding their children through a world both dangerous and beautiful. As dawn breaks once more, the world wakes slowly, beneath a pale sky brushed with thin streaks of pink and orange. Mist lingers along the surface of the river, swirling gently like soft fabric pulled by invisible hands. Birds call to each other in short, bright bursts of song. The camp begins to stir, and with it, the quiet work of survival resumes. Today is a special day for the older children. It is time for one of their first serious lessons in danger. Up until now, they have watched their parents closely, imitating tasks with the safety of supervision. But now, they will begin learning to read the world with sharper eyes, to notice signs of danger, to recognize what could harm them before harm arrives. The The mothers gather the children into a loose circle beneath the tall trees. The youngest toddlers sit on their mothers' laps, wide-eyed, while the older boys and girls sit upright, listening intently. The morning air is cool, but filled with quiet anticipation. The grandmother speaks first, her voice slow and even. She holds up a small carved figure, a snake, its body coiled tightly, its head raised. She explains in soft tones how to spot snakes hidden in tall grass. The children listen, leaning forward, watching her fingers trace invisible patterns in the air. She tells them how to read the land, to notice when birds suddenly fall silent, or when small animals flee in one direction. She points to a nearby bush, showing how a slightly trampled path could mean a predator has passed through. Every detail is important. The quiet is as full of meaning as the noise. The children repeat the lessons softly under their breath, as if committing the words to memory. There are no books here. The land itself is the teacher, and their elders are its translators. Nearby, the fathers prepare for a short hunting trip. But today, they allow the older boys to walk a little farther ahead, under careful watch. It is a small step toward independence, letting them feel the responsibility of scanning for tracks, choosing the safest paths, and remaining silent when movement in the trees catches their attention. For the girls, the day holds different lessons. Under the guidance of their mothers and grandmothers, they practice identifying edible plants, digging carefully for tubers without disturbing the roots too much. They learn how certain leaves can soothe insect bites, or how particular bark can be chewed to ease a fever. These skills are as vital as hunting, for they feed the camp and heal its wounds. One little girl proudly shows her mother a bundle of gathered herbs. The mother smiles, gently correcting a small mistake. One leaf was from a plant best avoided. The girl's eyes widen, understanding how close error and danger can live side by side. Learning here is always gentle but firm. Mistakes are corrected with calm voices, but the consequences of not learning are always present. By midday, the camp settles into a steady hum of activity. The children continue their practice, occasionally stopping to ask questions or receive guidance. The babies, still too small for such lessons, rest peacefully against their mothers' backs, swaying gently as their mothers move through the day's work. The rhythm of life is a constant teacher. The children learn not just from words, but from repetition, watching how fires are built, how skins are stretched to dry, how traps are set for small game. Each task becomes familiar through countless small moments. Every shared glance, every quiet instruction builds the knowledge they will one day carry forward. As the afternoon sun lowers, casting golden light across the clearing, the fathers return from their hunt. They carry a small antelope, enough to feed the group for several days. The older boys beam with pride, having helped spot the animal's trail earlier in the day. Their faces glow not just from the sun, but from the deep satisfaction of contribution. The evening settles gently around the camp once more. The fires are lit, and the children gather close. The baby nestles against his mother, watching the soft flames dance in the dark. The familiar hum of lullabies rises again, filling the air with calm. Tonight, as they prepare for sleep, one of the fathers ties a thin cord of polished bone beads around his daughter's wrist. A small charm, a symbol of her growing understanding. The beads click softly as she moves, a gentle reminder of the knowledge she carries and the protection of her family. The The stars appear one by one, scattered like ancient eyes watching from above. The moon rises, full and bright, casting soft, silver pools of light across the sleeping camp. The baby sighs deeply, his tiny hand grasping at his mother's fur-lined cloak. His breath slows, falling into the steady rhythm of sleep. In this world, teaching children was not a separate task. It was life itself, woven into every moment, every movement, every shared breath beneath the sky. Danger was always near, but so was love, steady, patient, and endlessly present. As you drift deeper into your own rest, feel the quiet confidence of ancient parents, guiding small hands and watchful eyes through a world both wild and beautiful. In their care, each child slowly learned to walk safely through the shadows, wrapped always in the comfort of family. The next day unfolds beneath a gentle sun. The early morning mist has lifted, leaving behind crisp air scented with fresh earth and wildflowers. The river glistens under soft beams of light, its quiet current carrying smooth stones downstream, like silent travelers. In the camp, another day of careful work and quiet learning begins. But today, the focus is on something different: play. For the children of the Stone Age, play was never a distraction from learning. It was learning itself. Through games and mimicry, they practiced the skills they would one day need to survive. The line between fun and preparation was invisible but strong. Near the edge of the camp, beneath the wide branches of an ancient tree, a group of children gathers. Their voices rise in soft bursts of laughter as they arrange small sticks into patterns on the ground. The boys organize themselves into hunting parties, dividing roles with the seriousness of seasoned adults. One child crouches low, pretending to stalk invisible prey through tall grasses. Another mimics the stance of his father, holding a long stick like a spear, steadying his aim at an imaginary deer. The girls sit nearby, weaving together long strands of grass and vine. They shape tiny baskets and wrap dolls made of cloth scraps and feathers. With their dolls, they act out scenes of family life, rocking infants, gathering food, building miniature shelters with small stones and twigs. Their play mirrors the world they observe each day, blending care and creativity. A mother watches nearby, her infant sleeping against her back. She smiles softly, occasionally offering gentle corrections when a cord is tied too loosely or a plant is misidentified. But mostly, she allows them space to explore. In this way, children learn balance, not only the balance of their bodies, but the balance of caution and confidence, of independence and safety. Farther away, a group of older boys practices with real spears, under the watchful eyes of their fathers. The spears are smaller, the tips dulled, but the lesson is real. They aim at targets, bundles of dried grass tied to sturdy posts, learning how to throw with strength and accuracy. Each successful hit brings soft praise. Each miss earns calm correction. The fathers demonstrate patiently. They show how to stand, how to shift weight, how to breathe steadily before release. There is no shouting, no harsh discipline. The teaching flows like water, steady and constant, shaping the children over time. Throughout the camp, small groups of children engage in different forms of play-turned-practice. Two little girls carefully sort piles of pebbles by size and shape, pretending to prepare tools. A boy builds a tiny shelter from sticks, copying the way the adults arrange larger frames. Even toddlers, barely steady on their feet, mimic their older siblings, picking up small sticks, pointing them like tools, and babbling in soft imitation. The The games also serve a deeper purpose. They build bonds between siblings, between friends, between future hunters and gatherers who will one day rely on each other for survival. Trust and cooperation are learned in these small moments, negotiating roles, sharing materials, helping each other succeed. As the sun climbs higher, a gentle breeze carries the sweet scent of wild berries. The mothers call the children over to share a midday meal. Small pieces of dried meat, mashed tubers, and handfuls of fresh fruit gathered earlier that morning. The children eat eagerly, their faces flushed with the satisfaction of both play and learning. After eating, the infants are fed and rocked back into peaceful slumber. The older children settle into quieter activities. Some sit with grandmothers, listening to new stories, while others help their mothers mend clothing or prepare tools. The rhythm of life slows briefly, giving everyone a chance to rest under the warm afternoon light. But soon, play resumes. This time, a pretend migration begins. The children gather their small bundles of pretend supplies, line up behind an older boy playing the role of leader, and march in a winding path around the camp. They practice crossing imaginary rivers, spotting pretend predators, and setting up small pretend camps under the guidance of their elders' quiet laughter. The parents watch with quiet pride. These games are not only charming, they are vital. In a world where knowledge means survival, every act of mimicry helps prepare the next generation. Through repetition, through laughter, through trial and gentle error, children absorb the skills that have kept their people alive for thousands of years. As the afternoon fades, the camp returns to its quieter rhythm. The fires are rebuilt for evening, and the babies awaken slowly from their naps, blinking into the soft golden light. Mothers hum as they cradle their little ones, while fathers sit nearby, sharpening tools for the days ahead. Tonight, as the stars begin to appear one by one in the darkening sky, the old man prepares another story. The children gather, still carrying the energy of the day's games, but now settling into stillness. The baby, once again wrapped snug against his mother, listens too, his small eyes wide as the elder's voice rises into the night. The story speaks of a young hunter who learned from his father and from the spirits of the land. It tells of mistakes made and lessons learned, of dangers faced and wisdom earned. The children listen with breathless attention, knowing that tomorrow their games will once again carry echoes of these ancient tales. As you drift deeper into sleep, feel the soft echo of laughter beneath tall trees, the gentle rhythm of tiny feet practicing for a life ahead, and the quiet pride of parents guiding each playful step. In this world, every game was a promise. Every moment of pretend was preparation, wrapped in love beneath the endless sky. As the days pass and the camp settles into its rhythm, there comes a time for rituals. In the Stone Age, the world was filled with mysteries. Spirits of the sky, the river, the forest, and the animals. For parents, protecting their children meant not only guarding them from predators, but also shielding them from unseen forces they believed moved quietly through the world. At dawn, the camp awakens to the soft chants of the elders. The air is cool, heavy with the scent of smoke and damp earth. Mist curls around the shelters like soft white threads. Today, a special ceremony will take place, a blessing for the youngest children, to ask the spirits for protection as they grow. The mothers gather first, each carrying her child against her body. The infants stir but remain quiet, sensing the calm seriousness in their mothers' voices. The fathers follow, their hands holding small bundles of carved charms, bone beads, and colored stones. In the center of the camp, a circle of smooth stones has been carefully arranged. In its heart, a shallow pit burns with a slow, steady flame. Around it, the tribe forms a ring, everyone sitting or standing in silent respect. The oldest elder steps forward, his face painted with soft lines of red ochre, his gray hair tied with thin strips of hide. He begins to speak, his voice deep and slow, carried gently by the morning breeze. He tells of the great spirits that watch over the tribe, the spirit of the fire that keeps away the darkness, the spirit of the river that feeds them, the spirit of the forest that hides both danger and safety. The children are the future of these spirits, and today, the tribe asks for their favor. One by one, the mothers step forward, carrying their infants close. The elder holds a small bundle of dried herbs and gently waves the smoke toward each child. The sweet, earthy scent of burning sage fills the air, swirling in thin, twisting ribbons around tiny faces. The babies blink, some reaching small hands toward the drifting smoke, curious but calm. The elder speaks quiet words for each child, words passed down from countless generations, words older than memory. He speaks of strength, of wisdom, of courage. He calls upon the spirits to walk beside each child as they grow, to whisper warnings when danger comes near, to guide their steps through the wild world. The fathers present their gifts, small amulets tied onto thin leather cords. Some are smooth stones with holes worn naturally through their centers, believed to be powerful against illness. Others are carved pieces of bone or teeth from past hunts, symbols of strength and survival. The amulets are gently tied around each child's neck or wrist, resting softly against their skin. For the parents, these charms offer comfort. They cannot guard against every danger, but they can surround their children with symbols of protection, reminders that they are not alone. The weight of the amulet is light, but its meaning is heavy with hope. The older children watch quietly, their eyes wide with a mixture of awe and pride. They remember their own ceremonies, their first charms still hanging around their necks, worn smooth from years of touch. The rituals connect them to the past, to their ancestors, to the long line of mothers and fathers who stood in this circle before them. As the ceremony continues, soft humming rises from the mothers, a melody without words, flowing gently beneath the elder's voice. The babies settle, their small bodies relaxing into the steady rhythm. The fire crackles softly, sending thin sparks into the cool air, as if carrying the prayers upward. When all the children have received their blessings, the tribe joins in a final chant, their voices blending into one low, steady tone that vibrates softly in the chest, like a heartbeat shared by all. The sound carries across the clearing, into the trees, up toward the watching sky. As the chant fades, the elder steps back, and the circle gently breaks apart. The mothers return to their shelters, cradling their babies close. The fathers gather near the fire, speaking in soft tones, their faces calm. The children scatter into small groups, returning to their games, their laughter rising once more like birdsong after a passing storm. The rest of the day returns to its familiar rhythm. The hunters prepare for the next journey. The foragers set out into the forest, and the older children practice their skills. But beneath it all, the quiet comfort of the morning's ritual lingers, a layer of unseen protection, wrapping the children in ancient care. That evening, as the sun sinks low, painting the sky with deep reds and golds. The camp gathers once again around the fire. The elder tells another story, a tale of a mother bear who guarded her cubs through storms and hunger, through cold winters and prowling predators, until they grew strong enough to face the world on their own. The children listen, snuggled against their mothers, their small fingers playing with the charms now tied to their bodies. The tiny beads clink softly with each movement, a quiet song of safety in the flickering firelight. As you drift deeper into sleep, feel the warmth of ancient protection, the gentle weight of charms resting against tiny hearts, and the steady breath of parents who held their children close beneath the watchful eyes of sky and forest. In this world, love was not only soft words, but careful rituals, quiet prayers, and small symbols that carried the hopes of generations. As the days blend into one another, a soft rhythm carries the camp forward. The sun rises and falls. The river flows steadily, and the children grow under the quiet watch of their family. In the Stone Age, parenting was never the work of one pair of hands. It was a circle, wide and steady, where older siblings played a vital role in raising the youngest. Among the shelters, as the morning light glows softly across the land, the older children gather near their mothers. Their eyes are filled with both pride and responsibility. The smallest babies remain wrapped against their mothers' backs, but soon, even they will spend time in the arms of their older siblings, learning to trust others beyond their parents. A young girl, barely 10 summers old, carefully cradles her infant brother. Her small arms know the weight of his tiny body well. She has watched her mother rock him, feed him, soothe him when he cries. Now she mirrors those same motions with gentle precision. The baby's eyes follow her face, his tiny hands reaching up to grasp at the necklace of bone beads hanging around her neck. Nearby, another boy, just a few years older, carries his toddler sister on his hip as they walk slowly through the tall grass. He points out birds fluttering from branch to branch, naming each one softly. Though he is still a child himself, this practice shapes him into a future protector, guiding him to move with awareness, to think not only for himself, but for those more vulnerable. The parents watch from a distance, allowing space for these bonds to deepen. They understand that siblings are often a child's first teacher after their mother and father. Through endless small acts of care, they build confidence, patience, and empathy, qualities that will one day make them strong parents themselves. In the quiet moments of the afternoon, when foraging is done and fires are tended, the older children gather in small circles to entertain their younger siblings. They sing soft songs, make simple toys from carved sticks and animal bones, and create games to keep the little ones engaged. One game involves balancing small pebbles on flat pieces of bark floating in a shallow stream. The toddlers watch in fascination as the pebbles tumble into the water, or balance perfectly for a few brief seconds. These moments are filled with laughter, but beneath the joy lies practice, fine motor skills, observation, and patience quietly developing with each playful attempt. At the edge of the camp, an older sister braids thin cords of grass into simple necklaces for the infants. She carefully ties small shells and smooth stones into the braids, mimicking the protective charms her mother wears. When she finishes, she gently places one of the tiny necklaces around her baby sister's neck. The toddler giggles, reaching for the shiny bead, her wide eyes filled with wonder. The parents gently praise their older children, offering quiet words of encouragement. In this world, guidance often came through observation and imitation, with gentle correction rather than harsh instruction. The children learn to care because they have been cared for. They give comfort because they have received it. As the day stretches into evening, the older children take turns helping prepare the evening meal. Some carry small bundles of gathered firewood. Others fetch water from the river under watchful eyes. They know their limits, but with each passing day, their confidence grows, and their contributions become more meaningful. Later, as the fire crackles and soft shadows dance across the faces of the gathered families, the youngest children settle into sleep. The older siblings remain close, softly humming lullabies they've heard since they were babies themselves. Their voices blend into the quiet night, wrapping the infants in layers of familiar comfort. In the stillness, the old man tells another story, this one about the moon and its many children. He speaks of how the moon watches over the night, shining softly to protect sleeping babies while their parents rest. The older children listen intently, their heads nodding slowly, as if understanding that they too are small moons, guiding, watching, protecting those who depend on them. The parents exchange quiet glances filled with pride. They know that long before these children become adults, they are already practicing the most important skills of their lives: care, patience, and responsibility. The bonds between siblings run deep, forged not only by shared blood, but by shared moments of trust and tenderness. As night settles fully, and the stars take their places above, the camp grows silent once more. The older siblings drift into sleep beside the little ones they've watched over, their arms often wrapped protectively around their younger brothers and sisters. Beneath the endless sky, the circle of care remains unbroken. As you drift deeper into sleep, feel the gentle rhythm of small hands holding smaller hands, the quiet songs of siblings beneath tall trees, and the deep trust born from countless moments of shared care. In this world, childhood was not only a time of learning, but a time of giving, where even the smallest hearts held space for love and protection. Even in moments of peace, the wild world never fully rests. The Stone Age was beautiful, but it was not gentle. For children growing up in this world, danger was not an idea. It was a presence that lurked quietly beyond every circle of firelight, hidden behind every tree, beneath every shadow. As the morning sun climbs above the forest, the parents gather their children once again. Today is not for play. Today is for lessons of caution. The youngest infants sleep softly against their mothers, but the older children sit wide-eyed, their small bodies still as they listen. The father steps forward, his voice calm but firm. In his hands, he holds a strip of tanned hide, painted with simple drawings, symbols representing animals, plants, and signs of danger. He points to each one slowly, repeating the ancient lesson spoken by fathers long before him. The drawing of sharp teeth, large cats that stalk silently through tall grasses. The children whisper their names, learning the sounds of fear. The image of wide, heavy paws, bears, powerful, but unpredictable. The pattern of coiled lines, snakes, hiding in warm rocks and fallen leaves. The children murmur softly, their voices careful, as if speaking too loudly might summon these creatures. The mothers add their lessons too, pointing to nearby plants, some safe to eat, some that cause burning rashes, others that can sicken or even kill if touched or chewed. The children repeat these lessons, glancing at the plants growing at the edge of camp, seeing familiar shapes with new eyes. The grandparents watch with quiet approval. These lessons are not new. Each child will hear them hundreds of times. Repetition is survival. Knowledge must be stronger than curiosity. Later, under careful supervision, the older children practice these skills. They walk slowly through a small path cleared by their fathers, pretending to search for hidden dangers. One child stops suddenly, pointing at a patch of grass where a thin branch lies curved like a snake. Another notices a small pile of disturbed dirt, sign of a burrow that might hide an angry animal. Their parents stand close but allow space. The children must learn to scan their surroundings, to move with awareness. These games of caution are as important as any hunt or craft. Mistakes here can be corrected. In the wild, there are no second chances. As the sun reaches its peak, the children return to camp for the midday meal. The mothers praise their observations, offering quiet encouragement, reinforcing the confidence built from practice. The babies, too young to understand, watch from their slings, feeling the steady rhythm of the day's care. In the afternoon, another kind of lesson begins. The fathers gather their sons near the river's edge, showing them how to read the tracks left in soft mud. Tiny prints of birds, sharp hoof marks of deer, and deep rounded impressions of heavy animals tell stories to those who can read them. The boys squat low, tracing the shapes with small fingers. Their fathers explain how fresh tracks shine differently under the sun, how broken twigs point in the direction of movement, how a sudden silence in the forest might signal that something larger is near. Meanwhile, the girls gather with their mothers beneath the wide branches of an old tree. They learn how to feel the firmness of roots when digging, how to judge the weight of berries in the hand, how to test the sharpness of thorny vines before reaching into bushes. These gentle, repetitive tasks build knowledge layer by layer, each new fact becoming part of their growing instinct. Throughout these lessons, the danger remains distant but real. The parents never stray far, their eyes constantly scanning the horizon. They know that predators watch too, waiting for the careless, for the distracted. The safety of the children depends not on luck, but on discipline, on the constant presence of experienced hands and watchful eyes. Even at night, the danger does not sleep. The fires are kept burning, casting soft halos of light into the dark. The fathers take turns standing watch, listening for the soft snap of twigs, the quiet rustle of movement beyond the camp. The mothers keep their infants pressed close, their soft humming a steady anchor in the drifting night. The children sleep, surrounded by this invisible web of care, never knowing fully how many dangers their parents hold at bay. Their dreams remain peaceful, filled with the warmth of firelight and the soft rhythm of lullabies, even as silent eyes watch from the dark. In this world, love was not only gentle touches and soothing songs. It was sharp awareness, constant vigilance, and endless repetition. The parents carried a deep, quiet fear that never left them, but they hid it beneath calm smiles and steady voices, so their children could grow without the weight of it pressing down too soon. As you drift deeper into sleep, feel the strength of ancient hands guiding small steps, the careful eyes scanning every shadow, and the endless patience of parents who turned fear into quiet protection. In this world, every moment held both risk and tenderness, wrapped together beneath the wide, watching sky. Even in a world filled with watchful eyes and careful steps, sickness and injury found their way into the lives of every family. In the Stone Age, wounds came easily. Scratches from sharp rocks, bites from insects, twisted ankles on uneven ground. Illnesses crept in quietly, hidden in cold winds, in bad water, in sudden fevers that burned hot through small bodies. The parents knew these dangers well. Long before spoken language carried names for sickness, there were rituals and remedies passed down from countless generations. When a child fell ill, the entire camp turned its attention to the small figure wrapped in fur, lying quietly beside the fire. Today, it is the baby who stirs restlessly. His face is flushed, his breath faster than usual. The mother presses her hand softly to his forehead, feeling the unnatural heat. The hum of the camp slows. Conversations drop to whispers, and the quiet rhythm of care begins. The grandmother steps forward. Her hands are steady, weathered by years of tending to the sick. She kneels beside the child, examining his skin, his breathing, his color. She whispers soft words of comfort, both for the baby and for the anxious mother. From a nearby basket, she selects bundles of dried plants, leaves and roots gathered carefully in seasons past. She places a handful into a small stone bowl and crushes them with a smooth pestle, releasing sharp, clean scents into the air. A poultice is prepared, spread thin over strips of soft bark, and wrapped gently around the baby's tiny wrists and ankles. The father watches closely, his hands resting but ready. His role is to protect, to provide, but also to stand firm beside the mother as she faces the unknown. Together, they have seen fevers rise and fall before. Each illness is a silent test, but one they have prepared for since their own childhoods. Nearby, older siblings sit quietly. They have been through these moments before, first as the ones needing care, and now as quiet witnesses learning through experience. One older sister helps fetch water from the river, carrying it carefully in a skin pouch, her small face serious with responsibility. The herbs are not magic. Some will soothe, some may fail. The mothers know the limits of their remedies. They rely equally on rest, on the steady warmth of the fire, and on the strength of the child's small body fighting quietly within. As evening settles, the camp grows even softer. The firelight dances gently over the worried faces of the parents. The baby's breathing slows, his tiny chest rising and falling like the quiet rhythm of distant waves. The mother hums softly, her voice weaving through the smoky air, a sound older than language itself. The other children fall asleep nearby, wrapped in their own furs, their small bodies warm beneath the soft hum of the night. Even in sleep, they remain close, their presence adding a layer of comfort to the fragile quiet of the evening. When wounds appeared, scraped knees from climbing rocks, cuts from sharp flint, or bruises from rough play, the mothers acted with the same steady hands. They washed wounds with clean water, covered them with crushed leaves or animal fat mixed with healing herbs, and wrapped them carefully with strips of soft hide. In the worst cases, when an injury lingered or worsened, the tribe turned to rituals, simple chants, offerings of carved figures placed near the child, and whispered pleas to the spirits of healing. Though their knowledge of medicine was simple, their care was endless, fueled by a deep love that left no small injury ignored. The fathers, too, played a role in healing. They taught their older children how to avoid danger, how to step carefully on loose stones, how to judge the strength of thin ice on winter mornings, how to recognize the shifting behavior of animals before an attack. Prevention was as important as healing, and every walk through the forest was filled with quiet lessons. In this world, children learned early that the body could be fragile, but that care was always close. They understood that their family's strength came not from avoiding harm entirely, but from facing it together, prepared and patient. As the night deepens, the baby's fever begins to break. His breathing steadies. His tiny fingers flex and relax in sleep. The mother sighs softly, her body sinking deeper into the warmth of the furs. The father reaches over, resting his hand gently on the baby's back, feeling the steady rise and fall. Above them, the stars blink softly, the sky vast and watchful. The fire's glow fades to a soft bed of embers, still warm, still guarding. The danger has not vanished, but for this moment, peace returns. As you drift deeper into sleep, feel the steady hands of ancient parents tending to small wounds, the quiet songs whispered through long nights, and the endless patience that turned fear into tenderness. In this world, every illness was met with both knowledge and hope, wrapped together beneath the timeless sky. In the vast simplicity of the Stone Age world, even the smallest moments became grand celebrations. Without written records or carved monuments, it was in these tiny milestones that life revealed its quiet beauty, especially the first wobbly steps and early sounds of a growing child. The morning is soft, with pale light filtering through a thin curtain of mist. The river flows steadily, its voice quiet and calming. The camp stirs gently. Mothers hum as they prepare the day's work. Fathers check the distant tree line for fresh signs of game, and older children gather in small groups, ready to help where needed. But today, all eyes keep drifting toward one small figure. The baby, now almost a full cycle of seasons old, has begun to push himself upright. Sitting has become natural, and now he rocks forward onto his knees, eyes wide with both fear and determination. His tiny fingers grasp at the smooth surface of a worn log, steadying himself. The mother sits nearby, her hands ready but not interfering. Her soft voice murmurs encouragement, her smile full of patience. She knows this moment will come only once for this child, and it belongs to him. The baby shifts, sways, and then, slowly, lifts himself up. His little legs tremble beneath the weight of his body, arms flailing slightly for balance. For a heartbeat, he stands. His wide eyes meet his mother's, as if surprised by his own success. The camp falls into a hush. Then, as quickly as it came, his balance gives way. He lands softly on his padded bottom, a short gasp of surprise escaping his lips. A ripple of warm laughter spreads through the camp, soft and proud. The mother scoops him up, pressing his warm cheek against hers, whispering words that need no translation. In the days that follow, the scene repeats again and again. Each attempt grows steadier, each fall softer. Soon, those first brief stands become hesitant steps, one foot in front of the other, arms stretched wide for balance. The entire camp becomes his stage, each family member watching with quiet celebration. The older children take turns guiding him, holding his small hands, encouraging him forward with patient steps. His siblings cheer each tiny advance, their own faces glowing with pride. Even the fathers pause their work, offering quiet nods of approval as the child finds his way through the world on his own feet. These first steps mark more than movement. They signal a transition. Soon, he will no longer be bound to his mother's sling, carried through the forest. Now he will walk beside her, exploring the land with his own eyes, learning its secrets firsthand. And with movement comes voice. One morning, while the mother prepares a bundle of roots, the baby sits nearby, babbling softly. His sounds are simple, vowels and broken syllables, but carry an undeniable rhythm. The mother repeats familiar words gently, inviting him to mimic her. He watches her mouth closely, fascinated by the way sounds form. "Ma," she says softly. The baby's lips purse, trying to mirror the shape. "Ma," he repeats, the sound clumsy but clear. A soft gasp rises from the nearby women. The mother beams, tears glistening briefly in her eyes. The baby laughs at their reaction, proud of the music he has found in his own voice. Over the following days, the camp is filled with these sounds. Older siblings encourage him to try new words, pointing to objects, stones, birds, water, repeating names over and over with joyful patience. The entire tribe becomes his teachers, each voice adding a thread to the growing web of his understanding. Language in the Stone Age was simple but rich, carried in the melodies of storytelling, in the chants of rituals, in the calls exchanged while hunting or foraging. Now, this child begins to step into that world of shared meaning. His first words are small keys, unlocking doors to connection. As night falls and the stars return to their places, the baby sits in his mother's lap beside the fire. The old man tells a story of how the first humans learned to walk and speak, how the spirits taught them to rise from crawling, to sing songs that shaped the winds, to speak words that called animals and named the rivers. The baby listens with wide, blinking eyes, his small head leaning against his mother's chest. His hand grips the leather cord around her neck, fingers playing with the smooth bead of his protective charm. The fire crackles softly, its light dancing across their faces. In this world, no moment passed unnoticed. Each small step was a triumph, each word a bridge to the wisdom carried by generations. The parents knew that long before their children could hunt, build, or lead, they first had to stand and speak. And in those simple beginnings, the entire future was already alive. As you drift deeper into sleep, feel the warmth of ancient laughter at wobbly first steps, the soft echoes of first words spoken beneath the stars, and the gentle pride of parents watching new life unfold. In this world, every small milestone was a sacred victory, wrapped in quiet joy beneath the endless sky. As the baby grows, so too awakens another part of his world: fear. In the vast and unpredictable wilderness of the Stone Age, fear was not only natural, but necessary. Yet for small children, fear often came before understanding. And so, the gentle hands of parents were not only for feeding, carrying, and teaching, but for guiding tiny hearts through the shadows of their new world. The camp settles as night arrives. The fires burn low, casting long fingers of flickering light onto the tall trees surrounding them. The baby lies in his mother's arms, his small body tense as he stares wide-eyed into the shifting darkness beyond the circle of warmth. Tonight, the wind carries new sounds. A distant howl echoes through the trees, a wolf far beyond the safety of the camp. Then a low rustle in the nearby brush, followed by the high-pitched call of a nightbird. To the seasoned adults, these sounds are familiar, but for the child, they are unsettling mysteries. His tiny fingers clutch the fur of his mother's cloak. His breathing quickens. The unknown fills his imagination. The darkness, which once was simply part of the world, now feels alive. The mother hums softly, her voice like a slow river wrapping around him. The melody is ancient, passed from countless mothers before her. It carries no words, only gentle comfort. The baby's breathing begins to slow, but his wide eyes continue to scan the shadows. Beside them, the older siblings sit quietly. They too once felt these same fears. Now, they offer small reassurances, stroking his hair, speaking soft words, showing him that they are unafraid. Their presence adds another layer of safety, a living wall of family. The father sits nearby, his eyes always watchful, his spear resting against his knee. He says little, but his calm stillness speaks volumes. The child watches him, sensing the quiet strength in his steady gaze. As the fire pops softly, sending tiny sparks into the air, the grandmother leans closer. She begins to tell a story, not one of danger, but of understanding. As the baby grows, so too awakens another part of his world: fear. In the vast and unpredictable wilderness of the Stone Age, fear was not only natural, but necessary. Yet for small children, fear often came before understanding. And so, the gentle hands of parents were not only for feeding, carrying, and teaching, but for guiding tiny hearts through the shadows of their new world. The camp settles as night arrives. The fires burn low, casting long fingers of flickering light onto the tall trees surrounding them. The baby lies in his mother's arms, his small body tense as he stares wide-eyed into the shifting darkness beyond the circle of warmth. Tonight, the wind carries new sounds. A distant howl echoes through the trees, a wolf far beyond the safety of the camp. Then a low rustle in the nearby brush, followed by the high-pitched call of a nightbird. To the seasoned adults, these sounds are familiar, but for the child, they are unsettling mysteries. His tiny fingers clutch the fur of his mother's cloak. His breathing quickens. The unknown fills his imagination. The darkness, which once was simply part of the world, now feels alive. The mother hums softly, her voice like a slow river wrapping around him. The melody is ancient, passed from countless mothers before her. It carries no words, only gentle comfort. The baby's breathing begins to slow, but his wide eyes continue to scan the shadows. Beside them, the older siblings sit quietly. They too once felt these same fears. Now, they offer small reassurances, stroking his hair, speaking soft words, showing him that they are unafraid. Their presence adds another layer of safety, a living wall of family. The father sits nearby, his eyes always watchful, his spear resting against his knee. He says little, but his calm stillness speaks volumes. The child watches him, sensing the quiet strength in his steady gaze. As the fire pops softly, sending tiny sparks into the air, the grandmother leans closer. She begins to tell a story, not one of danger, but of understanding. In the Stone Age world, life and death walked side by side, woven together like the fibers of a basket. The people who lived beneath open skies understood this balance deeply. For children, learning about life meant also learning about death, not as something to fear, but as something to understand. The morning begins cool and bright. Mist clings softly to the tops of the grasses as the tribe prepares for another hunting day. The fathers and older boys sharpen their spears, check their stone blades, and speak in low, steady voices. The younger children watch closely, their eyes wide with both excitement and seriousness. Today, the children will witness a part of life that they have only heard about in stories. The mothers gather the younger children together, holding the smallest ones against their backs, while the older ones stand on their own. The fathers move quietly through the tall grass, their forms blending with the earth, following the faint trail of a herd. Hours pass under the rising sun, and then, finally, the hunters return. Two men carry a young deer suspended from a thick pole. The animal hangs still, its legs swinging gently as they walk. The camp falls into a quiet hum. The successful hunt brings relief and gratitude, but also solemn respect. The children gather near, their small faces serious as they approach. The fathers kneel down, calling them forward. This is not a moment of celebration. It is a moment of learning. The father of one young boy speaks softly, pointing to the animal. He explains that the deer has given its life so that the tribe may live. He reminds the boy that every part of the animal will be used: its meat for food, its hide for shelter and clothing, its bones for tools, its sinew for strong cords. The boy listens, his eyes filled with both wonder and sadness. He reaches out, touching the deer's soft fur, feeling the stillness beneath his small hand. The father places his own hand gently over the boy's and speaks softly of respect for the animal, for the land, for the balance that gives life and takes it away. Nearby, the girls help their mothers prepare for the next part of the task. Together, they gather sharpened tools, clean water, and woven baskets to hold the meat. The older children assist carefully, learning how to cut, how to clean, and how to preserve each part of the animal with skillful hands. For the younger ones, it is a quiet lesson. They do not look away. They watch their parents work with steady movements, seeing how each act is done with care, not cruelty. The taking of life is never done thoughtlessly. Every cut, every motion carries the weight of ancient gratitude. As the sun reaches its peak, the work continues. The meat is prepared and hung to dry. The hide is stretched and cleaned. The bones are carefully separated and set aside for future use. The entire process is an unspoken prayer, a ritual that honors both the hunters and the animal that provided. In the evening, as the camp settles once more around the fire, the elder tells a story. It is an old tale, one told to every generation, the story of the Great Circle. He speaks of how every living thing is part of the circle: the animals, the trees, the people, the rivers, and even the stars. He explains that when one life ends, it feeds others. The plants feed the deer feeds the people, and one day, the people return to the earth, feeding the grasses once more. Nothing is truly lost. Everything changes. Everything moves. Everything returns. The children listen, their small hands playing softly with strands of grass or smooth stones as they absorb the meaning. Some glance at their parents, who sit silently, their faces calm. These lessons are not new. They have been whispered across countless fires beneath countless stars. Later, as the night deepens and the stars scatter like scattered beads across the black sky, the children drift into sleep. The boy, who earlier touched the deer, lies wrapped in his furs, his breathing slow. His father sits beside him, watching the quiet rise and fall of his chest. In this world, death was not hidden from children. It was not a shadow to fear, but a truth to accept. The parents taught their young ones gently, guiding them through the complex emotions of loss with steady hands and quiet words. The sorrow was real, but so was the gratitude. The sadness of death was softened by the understanding that life continued. As you drift deeper into sleep, feel the steady strength of ancient hands guiding small hearts through the mysteries of life and death. The quiet gratitude whispered into the firelight, and the unbroken circle that wrapped every living thing beneath the endless sky. As the seasons pass, the children grow stronger. What once were tiny hands learning to grasp now hold small tools with confidence. What once were unsteady steps now carry small feet, steadily across uneven ground. In the world of the Stone Age, childhood was brief, but not rushed. The slow rhythm of nature guided their journey from protected infants to contributing members of the tribe. Today begins like many others, under a soft sky, with cool winds brushing through tall grasses. The fires burn low, their smoke rising in lazy spirals. The camp hums with quiet energy, but now the older children no longer sit watching from the edges. They are ready for more. The mothers gather their daughters and guide them toward the drying racks where strips of meat hang in careful rows. The girls watch closely as the women inspect each strip, ensuring it has dried evenly. Then with small stone blades, they practice cutting the meat into smaller pieces for storage. Their movements are slow, but sure. The mothers correct gently, guiding their hands without impatience. Beside the fire, another group of children sorts bundles of plant fibers, separating them by length and strength. Under the guidance of grandmothers, they twist the fibers into long cords, some for binding tools, others for weaving baskets. Their fingers move in rhythm, their voices humming softly as they work. Nearby, the boys follow their fathers along the edge of the forest. They learn how to check traps set days before. The fathers show how to read the ground, whether an animal had passed, whether the trap was disturbed, whether success or patience was needed. One of the boys carefully resets a small snare, his father watching with quiet pride. The tasks assigned to the children are simple but meaningful. They are not empty distractions. Each small duty builds skill, confidence, and understanding. Each contribution, no matter how small, is recognized and valued by the tribe. The children sense this pride. They see their parents' approving nods, hear the soft words of encouragement, feel the warmth of belonging. They are no longer only being cared for. They are beginning to care for others. This shift is subtle, but deeply important. Later in the day, as the sun climbs high, a group of children carries water skins from the river. They walk carefully, balancing the sloshing weight, learning the pace that keeps the load steady. The older ones help the younger ones, offering advice and adjusting straps when needed. Their teamwork is natural, unspoken, born from daily practice. One small girl pauses, adjusting the strap across her shoulder. Her brother notices and steps closer, gently helping her rebalance the load. Their mother watches from a distance, allowing the moment to unfold without stepping in. These small exchanges are where responsibility takes root, through experience, not instruction alone. As the afternoon cools, the children gather around an elder who demonstrates how to shape sharp flakes from a larger piece of flint. The careful tapping produces tiny sparks and delicate chips that fall like stone petals to the ground. The children watch with wide eyes, then take turns under the elder's supervision, mimicking the precise rhythm. Mistakes are common. Stones crack, flakes fall unevenly, but each failure is met with patient correction. The elder's voice remains soft, his hands steady as he guides the small fingers. Skill is not expected to appear instantly. Mastery is built one tiny success at a time. By evening, the camp glows once more under the light of the fires. The day's work is complete, but its lessons remain. The children sit close to their parents, proud of their small accomplishments. The adults share quiet stories of when they were children, recalling their own first tasks, their own mistakes, their own early pride. The baby, still the youngest, watches all of this unfold. His small hands play with the strands of a woven cord, feeling its texture, mimicking the motions he sees in the older children. His time will come soon, but even now, learning has already begun. The elder tells a story as night falls, a tale of the first child who learned to help the tribe, who carried water without spilling, who wove the strongest basket, who tracked the first animal print alongside his father. The children listen with quiet smiles, recognizing themselves in the story. In this world, responsibility was not a burden given all at once. It was a gift, offered slowly, shaped gently, and accepted with quiet pride. The parents understood that the path to adulthood was not a straight climb, but a steady walk, hand in hand, under the wide, patient sky. As you drift deeper into sleep, feel the soft strength of small hands, learning through gentle guidance, the quiet pride of parents watching new skills unfold, and the endless rhythm of generations teaching and learning beneath the timeless stars. Night has fallen again, as it has countless times before. The fire burns softly at the heart of the camp, its glow casting long, gentle shadows that flicker against the tall branches overhead. The stars are scattered wide, watching from the endless black, silent witnesses to the quiet work of ancient love. The baby, once a fragile bundle wrapped tightly against his mother's chest, now toddles steadily through the circle of shelters. His small feet move with growing confidence, his laughter rising in soft bursts as his siblings guide him from one adult to another. Each step carries him farther into the world, but always within the gentle ring of care surrounding him. The parents watch with calm pride. They see not only the child's first steps, but the long journey ahead, a path they have walked themselves, guided by their own mothers and fathers who were once children under these same stars. The tribe gathers close for the night's final story. The elder's voice rises softly above the crackling flames, weaving a tale of beginnings and endings, of life carried forward like fire passed from one hand to another. He speaks of how every parent carries the breath of their ancestors, how, long ago, the first people learned to gather, to build shelter, to nurture tiny lives in a world filled with both beauty and danger. How they taught their children with patient hands and steady hearts. How the knowledge of survival was never written in stone, but carried in voices, in songs, in stories like this one. The children listen quietly, leaning against their mothers, feeling the familiar safety of warm arms and soft fur. Even the youngest feels the steady rhythm of the words, though their meaning will take years to fully bloom. The father glances at his son, watching him rest his small head against his mother's chest. The boy's breathing is steady, his tiny fingers playing lazily with the smooth beads of his protective charm. That charm carries more than superstition. It carries a promise, a symbol of care stretching back through generations. Tomorrow, the cycle will continue. The older children will rise early to help gather firewood. The boys will follow their fathers into the forest, reading the land's quiet messages. The girls will sit beside their mothers, weaving grasses into strong cords and learning which plants heal and which ones harm. The children will stumble, they will fall, they will feel fear, but always steady hands will be there. Parents will guide, siblings will help, elders will whisper the old stories once more. And slowly, without ever being told directly, each child will absorb the ancient rhythm. That life is not just survival, but belonging. That safety is not only built by strong walls or sharp spears, but by shared knowledge, by quiet patience, by hands always ready to steady them. As the fire settles into a bed of glowing embers, the tribe drifts into sleep. The parents lie close to their children, arms wrapped gently around them. The father rests his hand over his son's back, feeling the soft rise and fall of his breathing. Above them, the stars remain. They have watched this scene for thousands of years. They will watch it for thousands more. In this world, parenting was never measured in grand gestures or single moments. It was found in 1,000 small acts repeated day after day, holding, guiding, teaching, comforting. The fires may one day cool, the shelters may fade, but the love passed from parent to child remains unbroken, traveling forward like light moving endlessly through the dark. As you drift into your deepest sleep, feel the ancient warmth of steady hands wrapped around tiny bodies, the soft hum of lullabies rising into the night, and the quiet, endless chain of care that carried children safely through a wild and beautiful world. Beneath the timeless stars, love was the first language, and long before words were written, it spoke perfectly.